Welcome to Macau for what is the FIA GT World Cup, the Macau GT Cup, and already the cars have lined up down there on a very colourful grid. We had a thrilling race yesterday for the GT3 cars. We have a thrilling race every year from the world's best GT drivers, all competing for the title of the FIA GT World Cup and the Macau GT Cup as well. David Addison is down there on the grid, and hopefully he'll be able to catch up with quite a few of the drivers. Let's get down to David.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. We're down on the grid for the start of the FIA GT World Cup. Welcome everybody to Macau. Welcome to a very busy grid, a very hot grid, and a fantastic entry that we have this year. There are one or two slight quirks to it this year, in as much as there's no Mercedes AMG, there's no Maro Engel, who's been a regular winner. But what we do have is a really quality lineup instead, and that includes many drivers with mega CVs of race wins or championship success. Let's go and have a quick stroll down the grid. We're sort of starting midfield to a bit closer to the back for a change, just so we can try and find a different driver or two. And over here, Sheldon van der Linde, whose weekend didn't start all that well. I'm going to stand in the way of somebody's photograph if I'm not careful, so we'll do that. Sheldon, quickly, it all kind of unravelled a bit in qualifying, didn't it?
Yes, unfortunately, unfortunately you're right. Not a great feeling to obviously start the weekend on the wrong foot here in Macau, knowing how hard it is to overtake in the races. But we're confident now. We almost had a very good start yesterday. We're up to P10 into turn 3. And then I got a massive smash on the right rear. I don't know who it was. Maybe you can tell me, but I didn't see who it was, unfortunately. But obviously got spun around and then it was last on the grid, or pretty much last. So today I think the people are going to take a bit more risk at the front, which should help us at the back. But yeah, from P12 will be difficult for a podium, let's be honest.
We always say the BMWs are really good in that first sector, all that grunt all the way down from here to Lisboa. But so are lots of other cars, and they're big cars, and it's still not a wide circuit.
Yeah, exactly. We've probably got one of the biggest cars here as well. So to navigate through the mountain section is always a bit more tricky. That's where we seem to be losing time to the Porsche and the Ferrari. And then we gain it back in sector 5 and 1, but then it's a bit too late to make the move normally. So hopefully we have a bit more of a chance today when it's hotter. And then we send it.
Excellent, good. Elbows out, good luck. Right, let's go walk about this way, because other cars that we need to keep an eye on, I know I'm starting a bit further back on the grid. One is perhaps the most popular car here. Now, Audis are still being developed in this part of the world. They're still competitive, and Adderley Fong's car runs this year in the Cinema Roll colours. Adderley I've lost for the moment, but as ever, there is an absolute army of people outside the circuit who are all here to buy merch for this. Every year we get a different character. We've gone through Hello Kitty to, was it Kuomi last year, and now we find ourselves with Cinema Roll. We might get to that again during the course of the race. Quick look to see if I can find wherever Adderley has gone. No, we've lost him, but we've seen the car at least. Let's keep going. Let's go back down the other way. Another car that has had dramas over the course of the weekend is the Lawrence Van Thor Porsche. Now, this was fastest the other day in the first of the practice sessions. Let's just pause there. Lawrence, sorry about this. I'm going to have to bring up Thursday again with you. I was just saying you were fastest in free practice, and then the next shot we had of you, the car didn't look like a Porsche.
No, I know. Thanks for reminding me. No, I mean, yeah, it's a shame because the car was, I think, one of the best cars I've driven in Macau at that point, and I felt really good in the car. So from the first lap on, it was looking very promising, and I made, yeah, it was my mistake, 100%, but I was 10 centimeters later on a turn-in or more wider, hit a bump, and so the front axle popped up, and I missed the apex, and obviously a very small mistake with huge consequences. The car was pretty badly damaged, and they did the best they could to be standing here, but obviously it's not the same car as FP1.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, how close is this car now to what you had on Thursday before the crash?
6.
Oh, okay. So you're lacking some performance.
Yeah, but and then the second thing is I'm starting here, not there, and it's difficult to overtake as well. So yeah, it's a bit damage limitation. It's quite frustrating, but in the end, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a small or big mistake. It was my fault, and that's the reason why I'm standing here. So not many people to blame but myself. So.
That part of the circuit, you've tried forwards, backwards, upside down. I mean, it's a kind of bizarre corner for you.
Yeah, my wife always tells me, why don't you do any small crashes? Like, if I crash, it's always something big. So, I mean, I'm trying at least.
What progress from here do you think?
You need to be realistic. It's difficult to pass here, especially with the Porsche, because we're strong in the mountain section. So there must be some stuff happening up front. I heard Marcello is motivated today, so hopefully he can make a bit of a mess, and that will help me maybe.
Right, good luck. Good to see you back as well. So Laurens Vanthoor then, he's had a car rebuilt, he's had a new engine put into the car as well, and he's going to be a man to watch, there's no doubt about that. Right, let's go this direction again for more Porsches. Dorian Boccolacci, who is returning to Macau. He's been a regular in GT racing and won Make Porsche Racing this season. Dorian, welcome back. You were here for the Formula 3 Grand Prix, what, 10 years or so ago, and now in a GT car?
Yeah, exactly 10 years ago. Actually, Sector 3 in my mind. I didn't remember so well if it was left, right, how much it was. But it's good to be back here. It's such a nice track. Very tough one, especially Sector 1 with Mandarin in the GT car. It's almost flat. Depend the lap, depend the tires, depend the fuel you're on board, and also you have the very technical part in the middle of the track, and such great drivers here. So we'll try to maximize the day. Yesterday we could improve the position from 14 to 9. Let's try to do the same today.
Really hot day as well today. It's going to be hot in the car.
Of course, yes. But yeah, because I'm Porsche Motorsport Asia, Porsche Motorsport Asia Pacific. Oh my God.
Porsche Motorsport Asia Pacific. That's the one.
Exactly. This year, I could drive in many racetracks that was hot, and yeah, today is like a normal day for me, so it's okay.
Enjoy your sauna. Good luck. Dorian Boccolacci then in the Porsche number 23. If I scurry round this way, I can find Andy Dang, Ferrari driver, who's about to jump on board. Andy, before you go on, do your fist bump. Go on, quick. Yes, good, excellent. Yesterday, fantastic job. Well done.
Yes.
Really good.
I was the last one, and I just want to be safe. But there was an opportunity for me, so I grabbed this, and I keep my position at the end of the race. So, yeah.
And today you go forward, go fast?
Go forward for sure as a driver. Try to keep my position and enjoy my race and compete for the best driver over the world.
Fantastic. Good luck. Well done. Right, that is Andy Dang, who was a real star yesterday. Looked really good. We're into the last 10 minutes or so of the countdown, so I'll see who else I can grab. Some drivers are in cars. Quite a few have been disappearing up the stairs to go and have an emergency splash and dash. Let me see whether I can quickly get to Laurin Heinrich. There's a mechanic in the way of Laurin Heinrich. Luca Engschler, we spoke to yesterday. Sorry, let's go this way. Luca Engschler is standing down here. Luca, can I interrupt all this frivolity? Yesterday you had a good race.
Well, depends on the angle, right? You see, it obviously was a tough one.
You kept people behind.
Yeah, we had big damage at the start, so the splitter was gone and the left side, so we've been really hanging in there. And also thank you to Laurin. I think he had 3 times the chance to really send me Lisboa south. So yeah, I hope I have better pace today.
What are the chances? Hotter today, is that going to affect things?
Well, no, I mean, you see, it's the second year in a row we've been struggling throughout, so every session we get a bit more, we are getting a bit closer, but it's too far to really compete with the big boys. But all in all, trying to bring the car home in one piece and learn and gather experience for next year.
Fantastic. Well done.
Thank you.
Good job. Good luck. Right, let's go back, if we can, over and try and grab a quick... oh, no, sorry, I'll tell you a lie. I do apologise to my cameraman. I'm making him walk everywhere because I want to go to Porsche and I want to hear from 2 people. One is Ian Schenguven, who is DTM champion. First time at Macau. Really impressive weekend, getting better every session. How are you finding the place?
Yeah, really good. I mean, in the beginning of the weekend, I told myself I can hate this place in the first year if I do a mistake. So I started to take it really easy. Maybe for the short term, it was not the best decision, but at the end, I'm happy. I built confidence around the track, and I think for the long term, for the future, that was the right step. And yeah, good starting position with the big guys in the front. So yeah, hopefully with a good start, I can be in the mix, but we will see.
For you, this is a bit like DTM. It's one driver, sprint race, and elbows out.
Exactly. This is why I'm here.
Good luck. Ian Schenguven then, driving for the Schumacher CLRT team. And let's have a word, if I can, with the CL, Koem Ledegaard, who runs this enormous operation now. You seem to have cars in every championship in every corner of the globe.
I mean, you can race a Porsche everywhere. It's the best car, I think, in the grid, and it's amazing to get this support from the manufacturer to come all over the world to race in this kind of racing. So it's mega.
What about you? You say you can race these cars. You're not doing much racing anymore.
No. I think I'm quite focused on the new life, and I enjoy to win with our car, maybe more than I was.
Good luck. Good to see you here. So, Colm Ledegar, in charge of the Porsche operation. Right, the grid is starting to be cleared. So, what we better do is have a quick look at who else is there, and we'll get set for what promises to be an epic FIA GT Cup. The Macau GT race is coming up soon.
David, thank you very much indeed down there on the grid. Speaking to many of the drivers, doing a super job yesterday down on the grid, and the same today as well. Less than 5 minutes now, 4 minutes left on the lights to let them know when the green flag will start for what will be a fascinating battle around the streets of Macau. For the Macau GT Cup, the FIA GT World Cup, every year these cars and drivers come together to give us a thrilling battle out on the circuit. And that was the car that took the win yesterday. It was a glorious win for Ferrari at Macau. Antonio Ferrocco will line up in pole position down there on the grid in Ferrari number 50. It is the predominantly red and blue Ferrari, alongside a Le Mans winner in 2025, Ye Fei, in the white, red and black. Ferrari is alongside. It's a Ferrari lockout on the grid today, as indeed it was yesterday. Back to Porsche, Alessio Picariello. Thrilling to watch him in the Porsche yesterday in the qualification race. It's a longer race today. It was 12 laps yesterday. It is 16 laps today in prospect, and he'll be alongside Raffaele Marciello. No one can write off Raffaele Marciello around the streets of Macau. He is absolutely superb in the BMW on the outside of the second row of the grid. Joel Eriksson had a really good qualifying, certainly in Q1. He finished up quickest in Q1. Q2 didn't go quite according to plan, but he lines up on the inside of row number 3, and he'll be alongside the driver you just heard from, the DTM champion for 2025. And DTM, of course, a GT3 cars. And Einshan Guven said, "This is why I'm here, because this is what he does." And on the next row of the grid, we've just heard from him as well, Luca Engster in the Lamborghini, having a good qualifying session. Didn't know he was going to get into Q2, did at the last minute and made the most of it as well. Laurin Heinrich in the gold Porsche. The liveries on those, the gold and the platinum Porsches, absolutely fantastic. And Laurin Heinrich lines up on the 4th row of the grid. Dorian Bocciolacci, who we just heard from with David down there on the grid, is next in his Porsche, and alongside another one of the drivers that we heard from, Andy Deng, on the next row of the grid. Right, that's the view from above, the view from the sky looking down on what is an incredibly impressive GT grid. GT3 cars around Macau are just amazing. The barriers, the walls, all the way, they make the cars sound even more spectacular than they already are. It echoes around, you can hear it for miles, and that is confirmation of the grid. Ferrari lockout on the front row of the grid, 50 and 83, Antonio Ferrocco and Ye Fei on the front row of the grid, both in Ferraris. The Ferraris have looked fantastic here from the outset on Thursday, and absolutely superb stuff. We are not worthy. We welcome David Addison back into the commentary box, and all boxes ticked down there on the grid. Try to get through a few of the drivers that you didn't speak to yesterday, and well done.
I nearly got Adderley Fong for you. I couldn't find him, but at least I gave your Audi some love.
You did your best. Right? Thank you very much indeed.
There is quite an atmosphere down on the grid. This is the longest race of the weekend, of course, 16 laps, as Alan Hyde has been saying, and we're looking forward to what promises to be a really good battle. You've heard some of the drivers talking about the difficulties of getting past, and that's understandable at Macau, but drivers always do sort of play down their chances a little bit, don't they? I'm not sure we can do very well, and then all of a sudden you find them up at the pointy end of the order. The evidence of yesterday suggests, I'll grant you, that the Ferraris are going to be hard to stop, but that doesn't take away the fact that we should be in for a really, really good race.
They have thrilled us for quite a few years here at Macau, haven't they? When it was first decided that GT3 cars would be fine around the streets of Macau, around the gear circuit, there must have been a few raised eyebrows, because they are big cars, they are hugely powerful cars. But if you marry that together with world-class GT drivers, it just works.
It does. And these cars have got bigger. You know, look at road cars, they've all grown in width over the years, and so have these, and the racing element, you know, the flared wheel arches, the aero tweaks, the Porsche as an example, it's wider at the back than the front.
Sorry, I can't hear what you're saying.
Because of this glorious noise, this symphonic soundtrack that we have around Macau right now. The cars have been released onto the formation lap. Antonio Fuoco is going to take some stopping, but I think we are still in for a mega spectacle here. The GT Cup, the Macau GT Cup for the FIA GT World Cup was an awesome race last year. Okay, that was down to the weather. It was also partly down to the man on pole position just being fearless, Antonio Fuoco. What a shame we couldn't persuade him to start 4th or 5th, but as others said on the grid, if Raffaele Marciello is motivated, and he normally is, we're not done yet.
It takes a very brave person to bet against Raffaele Marciello here at Macau. He is superb. He was superb when he was competing in the Macau Grand Prix in single-seaters. Then it was for Formula 3 cars, and superb the minute he came in to compete in GT cars as well. But now they're doing the important job on the formation lap, weaving the cars as much as they can to get heat into the tyres. It's lovely weather. You've just been down there. Really, really warm, isn't it?
Oh, leaking like a racehorse at the moment. It is very hot indeed down there. And lots of the drivers were disappearing if they could into the shade, and there were umbrellas. In fact, when I interviewed Dorian Boccolacci and I started to talk about the heat, that was a hint that the team could just move the umbrella an inch my way, because it was getting decidedly warm down there. But as he made the point, if you're a regular racing as he is in Asia-Pacific events,
he's used to it.
It's sweat off a duck's back.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, great to hear from the drivers, and we have almost heard from each and every one of the drivers on the grid for this year. We made the point a little bit earlier on over the course of this weekend that it's a slightly smaller grid, but you know what? It's a quality grid.
Yes, and even if you're not on the grid, you're still interested. Mauro Engel was sending messages yesterday saying, I am watching. I'm at Valencia for MotoGP, but I'm still watching. Also, just before we miss him. And we do miss him. We miss him, and he'll be back, I'm sure, next year. It's not Mauro wanting not to be here, it's just that the team isn't providing a car this year. I do have one small bone to pick with you. You've been telling people a fib over the weekend. You have been telling people that there are lots of fans outside who come from mainland China to buy their cinema roll merch.
Yes.
That is not entirely true, or at least to expand the point, there are people from Macau paid by people from mainland China to stand in the queue and get what they want and send it back, I have now been informed.
Is that right?
So that's how popular it is.
It's quite a
And even you have somebody to stand in the queue for you, I noticed.
I absolutely do. You have people for these things.
You do. You have staff.
And you can't leave Macau without having a cinema roll T-shirt. I have one of those. The only trouble I've had is getting a cinema roll model car, but the Macau Grand Prix is not over yet.
It isn't. Well, you might be wanting a Ferrari model in the next 16 laps time, or a Porsche, or a BMW, or an Audi. Joel Eriksson, Christopher Haase in 2 of the 3 Audis, just to make the point that although Audi no longer really developed the GT3, it's still a big seller in Asia, and it is still very competitive, and there are still lots of them being run out here. So, in a sense, although development in Europe has stopped on the R8, over here it's still ticking along, and that perhaps is why we're seeing better pace out of the R8s here than you might have anticipated. Right, hold on to your hats, everybody. Red Ferrari, Antonio Fuoco. White Ferrari, yeah, Yifei. Le Mans winners both. Blue Porsche behind, Alessio Picariello. Red and white BMW, Raffaele Marciello. Then the Audi behind is that of Joel Eriksson. Alongside him is the Platinum Porsche of Ayenchen Guven. 16 laps for the FIA GT World Cup. The Macau GT Cup is go. Fuoco makes an absolute rocket ship of a start to lead down towards Reservoir Bend. It's going to be Yifei in second place as they come out of the corner, and a big lose for Picariello. He goes around, he clangs the Armco. Is everybody going to miss him? Yes, just about. Yellow flag at turn 1. He's going to try and lift the car out of the way. One Porsche gone with damage. The Belgian driver is out, and Marciello is up into second place. And here comes Guven up the inside in the Platinum Porsche. It's going to be Fuoco that leads at the end of the run down to Lisboa. Good start by Marciello to go second. And for third, Engschler round the outside. Guven gets a tag possibly from Heinrich. Guven in the wall, Engschler in the wall, Boccolacci into the back of them. Mayhem at Lisboa. 3 big names are out of it.
Wasn't expecting that, my goodness. Early on in the race, so many big names having a problem even before they get to the mountain section, even before they get to Sector 3 on the gear circuit here at Macau. Huge names have problems, and Raffaele Marciello, we said, do not bet against Marciello, up into second already.
And I suspect we're going to end up with a safety car, and that's going to play right into the hands of Lello, isn't it? As there, Laurin Heinrich goes through now up into third place. I think Heinrich tagged his teammate Guven, so Com Ledegaard's charming demeanour from the grid may now be rather vexed. He might be a bit Albert's mother after that, seeing his two cars get together. So right now, you've got Antonio Fuoco by quite a margin over Raffaele Marciello, up from fourth on the grid. They're down at Moorish. Heinrich is in third place in the gold Porsche, and the drivers accelerating their way uphill. Now, we know that Picariello's car spun coming out of turn 1, and we'll try and see whether or not the others have been able to get going from Lisboa. They've not yet gone through the second sector, which is slightly worrying, and we've still got yellows in that zone. Boccolacci's Porsche, having gone into the back of the Enschler Lamborghini, I suspect would have done a rad and there'll be liquid down. Enschler's car, if it's got front and rear damage, I wouldn't anticipate to get going again. Safety car deployed.
Yep, and as you said, that's going to be good news for bringing the gap down between the first place car, the Ferrari of Antonio Fuoco, and the second place car, Raffaele Marciello, getting a really good start, making the most of the cars that fell off there, and Raffaele Marciello on the restart is going to be one to watch. Particularly, we've made the point on a number of occasions, the BMW is particularly good on the first sector of the circuit.
Now, Picariello's Porsche. There was a rub with Marciello. He tried to stay alongside and around he went, so there was a little bit of contact between the two. Sheldon van der Linde had to breathe in, but this is where it all went wrong, because look, Heinrich clips Guven, Enschler's got nowhere to go, Boccolacci's got nowhere to go. That's a typical Macau accident. It's just a chain reaction, and it wasn't even Guven's fault. I'm afraid that Laurin Heinrich has a bit of a case to answer there. It was a tiny touch, but it was a serious one. Now, this is Eduardo Mortara's view. Mortara starting at the back of the grid, and it all kicks off. Your man Adderley Fong's got his elbows out, Al.
Lot of rubbing going on there. My goodness, right the way down the order. That was not the start that we expected. Avoiding everything is a huge ask, isn't it? Sheldon van der Linde really did get away with that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He was within an inch of collecting that accident. And meanwhile, in the BMW, things are as cool as they could ever be for Raffaele Marciello.
They are. You've got to feel for Alessio Picariello because there's a lot of damage. The race order then is Fuoco from pole. That's the easy bit. Raffaele Marciello is second. Laurin Heinrich is third. Joel Eriksson is fourth. And Ye Yifei from the front row. The grid is down in fifth. Andy Deng, what did he say to me on the grid? Go forward. Well, he has. He's up into sixth place. Lawrence Van Thor is up into seventh. Eighth is Sheldon van der Linde. Ninth is Christopher Hasse. 10th is Benjamin Goethe. And into the pit lane has come Adderley Fong's Cinema Roll Audi. Alan is desolate.
Well, it's not good news, but they might be able to turn the car around and get it back out on the circuit. We always have to look for the positives in these things. One of the positives is we can, oh dear, have a look at the damaged car and requiring a new wheel at the back and damage repair at the back. But on the plus side, look at that livery.
He can stay on the lead lap, he says, returning to the plot. Then he's got a chance. This is Raffaele Marciello's start, and the cars thunder away from the line. Ye Yifei's start was just not a tremendous getaway at all, and he started to get shuffled back in the pack. And there you see that little brush between Marciello and Picariello that puts the Picariello Porsche towards the barrier.
It was a brave conversation that you had with Lawrence Van Thor down on the grid, and also a great conversation as well, because you were brave enough to mention the fact that he's a winner here at Macau in a GT car, albeit on the roof of his car at the time. Right. And also to bring up the fact that the Porsche was very badly damaged on day one of this event this year in 2025. And he was completely honest, wasn't he? Totally honest.
And Lawrence Van Thor is up into seventh place, and the field is bunched up. There, being Lifted higher than the front row at a Bob Marley concert is the Porsche of Ayanch and Guven. That's going to be put the other side of the wall, and then we'll be good to go pretty soon. We
were saying how glorious those two Porsches look, the platinum livery and the gold livery as well. We guess that they're representing the platinum status of drivers and the gold status of driver as well. But whatever, they are fantastic, and they feel very at home in those liveries here at Macau.
Indeed so, but after the contact between them, I think Laurin Heinrich will be very apologetic after that. His is the gold Porsche. Let's have another look. Good getaway by Engschler, dives out from the middle, gets a little bit of a rub, I think, from Ericsson. Guven on the outside, but then the first contact comes as Picariello and Marciello just touch, and that's so... although it's a relatively light touch, at these speeds, with the cars all loaded up, that's enough to fire Picariello towards the barrier. And sadly, that's the Belgian driver's race down. Marciello up into second place. Now, look, Guven was absolutely on the money. Yeye-Fei's Ferrari sort of going backwards at this point because he had Guven on one side and Heinrich, and you've got the Audi of Haase in the mix as well. And Engschler, you've got to feel really sorry for. Actually, he tried to turn in, didn't he? And I think he got lent on a bit, looking at that another time, by Yeye-Fei. He sort of got knocked back into the traffic.
When you spoke to Guven down on the grid, you said, well, DTM, GT3 cars, and he said, that's why I'm here. Because he does these sprint races in GT3 machinery. It's exactly what he does.
I mean, we have seen him in endurance racing as well in SRO land this year, and he's done a very, very good job, as you would anticipate. But I don't think that was his fault. His is the car that, if you like, was the catalyst, because nobody could get past it on that line. But I still think there was a touch from his teammate. Not deliberately, of course, but that's what put him there. The leaders have gone across the line. Then all of these laps count within the 16. We're trying to clear up the circuit as rapidly as. Cars can be craned away at certain points, but in others, they need a flatbed recovery truck. Let's have a look at Yeye-Fei's start, I should say. Didn't get away from the line brilliantly. Goes into Reservoir Bend. Fuoco's already worked out where he's going to put the trophy, he thinks, at this point, but he's unaware of what else is happening behind him and how Marciello is making progress. But he's a head down towards Mandarin, and at this point, that's where he lost some of the time. He was very hesitant, wasn't he? And Marciello says, you don't want to do that. Through he goes. And then more attack him. Look, Guven on the right. So down to Lisboa. There's Heinrich. Let's see whether we can work out if there was a touch. Here comes Heinrich. Yeah, bang. Into Guven. Most definitely there was a touch. And Yeye-Fei gets through by about 2 cigarette papers width.
From being on board on the Ferrari, made it look very, very simple for Raffaele Marciello. I'm not sure it was quite that simple when he was exacting that manoeuvre, but certainly from on board, it looked like a really easy job for the BMW.
So the cars, sorry, I'll be going through San Francisco. That part of the racetrack looks clear, and it also looked pretty clear coming out of turn 1, didn't it? Yep. Safety car will be in this lap.
So good news, really quick job to get the circuit clear as well. So many cars down there. The crane is quite remarkable down at Lisboa. There's a good reason they put a remarkable crane down there. It gets pretty busy over 4 days here at Macau.
Absolutely.
And very, very quickly, 3 cars are being cleared off the circuit.
Yeah, it's the busiest time for crane operating companies around here. Certainly in November, business is picking up. Right, if you think back last year, Antonio Fuoco versus Raffaele Marciello for the race lead. Fuoco got ahead of Marciello. There was contact at Lisboa. Look who we've got in the top 2, ready for the resumption of the race. And where is that BMW strong, Alan?
In Sector 1. Let's keep our eyes on this. Ferrari against BMW, and it's Fuoco against Raffaele Marciello. Where have we heard that before? Let's see what happens here. This is thrilling. Here we go.
Adley Fong, by the way, has rejoined after his pit stop. It's not crackerjack, you know. And the Audi will hopefully be able to catch the queue. Might be some real progress to be made before the very end. Antonio Fuoco, race leader. And we haven't had a proper full racing lap, of course. This will be the end of lap number 3. But top work by the officials. Miroslav Bartosz, the race director, keen to get things back underway as soon as possible. So with the local officials directing which parked car, which damaged car needs to go where. To remind you, we've lost Alessio Picariello, we've lost Ayanch and Guven, we've lost Luca Engschler, and we have lost Dorian Boccolacci. Some big names have gone.
They certainly have, and as the field calms themselves, gets themselves ready for this restart. The Ferrari desperately trying to get as much heat into the tyres as is possible, and then pulls the pin. Here we go, we're racing once again any minute now as the BMW pulls off into pit lane. Things are going to be investigated after this race. Yeah, not surprised about that, but the Ferrari leads the field around up towards the line where he'll see a green flag. Things get back underway, and Raffaele Marciello not as close to the back of the Ferrari as we may have thought.
No, not as close as he needs to be, but this is the sector, if any sector, where he's going to be claw back the lost ground. All right, there's a gap there now, and it was 0.8 over the line, but I reckon the BMW is going to be a lot closer come the end of this section of the circuit. Laurin Heinrich is still there in third place in the Porsche. Fourth is Joel Eriksson. Ye Yifei runs fifth. Andy Deng in sixth, and the gap to the eye is coming down because Marciello is quicker by 0.3 in sector one. He'll close on Cuoco. That's Vanthor getting ahead of Deng, and Vanthor going straight on. Is he going to make the corner? He is, but only just. Lawrence Vanthor snakes through, but only just. That was close.
You could hear the gasps from the crowd in that huge grandstand down at Lisboa, and at least that Porsche is still at 100%. That's good news, and what an avoidance. Goodness me, that was so close. And yeah, we were making the point, weren't we, about the BMW being great down in sector one, but Raffaele Marciello was just not close enough, was he, as they got the race back underway. The Ferrari has the advantage. He knows when the pin is going to be pulled and gets things back underway, and Raffaele Marciello just a little bit too far back. And also, he's got some very bright headlights right in his mirrors because the Porsche is right there.
Is indeed. So Marciello needs to try to shake off Heinrich. Sounds obvious, but he can see that Ferrari up the road. The Porsche, as you were hearing on the grid, good on the mountain section, not so good on the next part of the lap. So this is where Marciello just has to make sure he can defend. And as soon as he comes out of Melco, wave goodbye. So far on this lap, Cuoco with two absolute best sectors, although there's not much to judge against, in fairness, but they are on this twisty part of the circuit. And when you get to the grunt and go sections from here on in out of the Melco hairpin, you can expect that BMW to really get away from the Porsche, and that's exactly what's happening. Heinrich is in third place ahead of Eriksson, Laurin Heinrich, Joel Eriksson fourth and fifth then. So Cuoco led by 0.8 of a second when they went onto this lap. That's the gap we need to monitor to see whether or not the BMW can realistically do anything about that flying Ferrari.
Watch him go, the BMW in sector one on the lap here at the gear circuit at Macau is always very quick indeed. Not surprisingly, he's got the purple best sector in first sector of the race, and how close they come to the wall as they start the next lap. Right, what can Raffaele Marciello do about bringing down an almost 2-second advantage that the Ferrari has? 1.8 seconds at the end of lap number 4 on the run down towards Lisboa. Nowhere near enough to the back of the Ferrari at the moment. The Ferrari, we've said on a number of occasions over the last 3.5 days, here at Macau this year, that Ferrari looks absolutely planted.
Does indeed, and it's gained another second over the BMW as Sheldon van der Linde's BMW now comes up to have a go to try to take Andy Deng's Ferrari. We've never had a Ferrari win the FIA GT World Cup, but that, I think, is going to change right now. The cars make the climb up the hill once more. Sheldon van der Linde 7th at the expense of Vanthor after his moment. Christopher Haase up into 8th place, and you're riding on board now with Marciello. And on this part of the circuit, that Ferrari has the advantage. It's really good through the tight and twisty elements of the gear circuit. And all Marciello can do is the best he can where the strengths of the BMW come into play.
So the gap was 1.8 seconds at the end of lap number 4 between the top two, between Ferrari and BMW. The Porsche in third place is still right there behind the BMW of second place, Raffaele Marciello. The rest of them spin their way through. Sheldon van der Linde's having a really good race. He proves as well the BMW is great in sector 1. Puts an overall best first sector, purple in sector 1 for Sheldon van der Linde, working his way up from the back of the field. And that's the story that you get at Macau. If things go wrong early on in the weekend, you're constantly playing a building game to get the best possible result that you can, climbing a ladder, if you like, over the course of 4 days. And that is exactly what Sheldon has had to do this weekend. Of course, also a former DTM champion as well.
And you never give up, because you never know what is around the next corner. So the cars accelerate down through Black Sands. There's Andy Deng, who for my money has been so impressive this weekend. And there he is in the mix with some big names behind him. Van der Linde, Haase and Vanthor next. So 16 starters, 12 circulate. Adley Fong playing catch up at the back. Antonio Cuoco led last time.
by 1.8 seconds, and he goes by with, in second spot, Raffaele Marciello, and the gap up to 2.4, and that is not what Marciello needed to be told.
The Ferrari has been superb in 2025, and so too has Antonio Ferrocco. It really is building on everything that we saw last year, isn't it? Because the Ferrari showed flashes of absolute brilliance in this Macau GT Cup race, and Sheldon van der Linde is looking to make up the place, has a look down on the inside and makes the place up in that first sector. Once again, it's sector 1 for the BMW.
Nice move that. Andy Dang gave him the room, not worth taking the risk. He knows that van der Linde is a more experienced driver, and the BMW then powers its way uphill. The next car that's going to attack the Ferrari will be the Audi of Christopher Haase. So Fuoco getting away up front. Now, what about this gap between Marciello and Heinrich for second place? Half a second, and there's not much to choose between them. The only downside to that battle is that where the Porsche has a strength, it's a very narrow part of the racetrack, and where the BMW has the strength is where you can get by. So it uses its power to pull away, then the Porsche catches up on this part of the circuit. So Heinrich really going to have to think very long and hard about how he makes a move.
Sheldon van der Linde starting this race down in 12th place. He's up to 6th place now. That BMW working very, very well indeed. And he knew the journey when you spoke to him down on the grid, didn't he? He knew what was ahead. He's doing it really well.
Indeed, so as you ride on board here with Eduardo Mortara, that's the Benji Goethe McLaren up the road in its FIA GT 1997 tribute livery. And replaced Davidoff with Rofco on the black bodywork, but he's under attack, is Benji Goethe. His brother, Oliver Goethe, was second in the Grand Prix last year, the first Formula Regional year, and Optimum here for the first time, Benji here for the first time, so a pretty steep learning curve, but it's great to have a GT3 McLaren on the grid. There is Danforth.
It certainly is, and in particular in that livery as well. It's very, very emotive, isn't it? Super to see. Right, so too is it super to see the Ferrari, because Antonio Ferrocco in that car, the 50 Ferrari, has been superb this weekend, absolutely superb, and the benchmark for everybody else to aim at, and just proof of that. Fastest lap of the race on that last lap, 2:16.724 for the Ferrari, with the Italian at the wheel of it, and an overall best in 3 of the 5 sectors on that last lap for Antonio Ferrocco, because he's got a cushion, hasn't he? He doesn't have to worry about being under pressure from behind. He knows Raffaele Marciello is there, but he's 2.7 seconds behind. And Raffaele is pretty busy keeping it neat and tidy and not leaving an opportunity to the Porsche there in 3rd place, with Heinrich right there with the headlights on. And you don't really need headlights, do you? A very glossy gold finish on that Porsche. You'll be led in no mistake at all that the Porsche is right there, ready to pick up any mistake that may be made.
You've just seen the Audi of Christopher Haase get ahead of Andy Dang's Ferrari. So Christopher up in a 7th spot now in number 45, the FAW Audi Sport Asia Team Phantom entry. Marin Heinrich for Schumacher CLRT drops down the hill. Marciello having done an absolute best middle sector. A couple of tenths quicker actually than Fuoco. Now whether that's misleading to suggest that he's going to be on the tail before the end of the race, we'll have to wait and see. Well, Fuoco responds with an absolute best in the next sector by half a second, so take that, Raffaele.
Yeah, well, they can trade quickest sectors, that's for sure. Whether they're going to trade places, well, something needs to happen, doesn't it? Because at the moment, Antonio Ferrocco is able to extend that advantage every single lap. I didn't quite realise, but we are ticking off the laps, aren't we? We're watching Antonio Ferrocco building on that advantage, and of course we are now 6 laps complete in this race, and we look back to the Porsche that's right there behind the headlights, very, very bright in the rear view mirror of the BMW of Raffaele Marciello in 2nd place. But we should also mention as well that Joel Eriksson in the Audi is doing a great job there in 4th place as well. He's in turn pretty close to the back of the Porsche. In fact, I think he's closer to the back of the Porsche than the Porsche is to the back of Raffaele Marciello.
I think you might be right about that. Joel Eriksson was the fastest in the first qualifying session on Friday. This year we had a new format with the top 10 having 2 laps on a fresh set of tyres for Superpole, but Ericsson was quickest in Q1, and he's just done the fastest lap of the race as Joel Ericsson. So the Audi there being dragged along by Laurin Heinrich's Porsche comes out of Mandarin. Joel Ericsson has not been here for many seasons. He has raced a GT car here. He was runner-up in the Grand Prix as well to Dan Tickton one season, and as he comes down towards Lisboa, that gap is coming down. Ericsson for the podium is a possibility. I think now Marciello has broken Heinrich in the sense, and Laurin is having to think about defending, not attack.
That's probably why the Porsche appears to be a little bit further back from Raffaele Marciello's BMW, as we would expect, because he's now having to keep things very neat and tidy with a quick Joel Ericsson in an Audi just behind. As David said, just put in the fastest lap of the race has Joel Ericsson at 2:16.702. That's the Ferrari that leads. That's the BMW of Marciello in second place. Porsche and Audi. Good mix of manufacturers in the top 4. Who has the advantage? Ferrari, and that has been the story of this year.
It has indeed. Antonio Fuoco, the race leader, and Heinrich on the mountain section does indeed catch back up to the Raffaele Marciello BMW. Very close down at Moorish, in fact closer than we've seen pretty much race long. So having suggested half a lap ago, if that Marciello would broken the spirit out of Laurin Heinrich. Laurin argues the point and comes back at him. So the former Carrera Cup Germany champion, Laurin Heinrich, and he's a class winner in sports cars in America, GTD Pro in IMSA. He drove here last year, and he's been in most GT championships going. He's crawling all over the back of Raffaele Marciello, but the big problem is now that BMW is going to get smaller, because you're on a part of the circuit that is far more advantageous to the BMW. It uses all of its power, stretches its legs, and you see Heinrich's dropped back 2-3 lengths, closes up under braking for Fisherman's, but it's going to be a big ask to get past this car.
It certainly is, and I think Joel Ericsson and his pace has pushed the Porsche on, if you like, to close up on the back of Raffaele Marciello on the mountain section of the circuit. Another lap completed for the Ferrari, 8 laps complete now, a 2:16.581 puts our race leader with another fastest lap, and Raffaele Marciello in second place. To be very concerned about the Porsche that looms bigger in the mirrors on the run down towards Lisboa in this first section of the circuit. That's the advantage the BMW has got. Stretches his legs. You can see the Ferrari just about to turn into the overtaking points at Lisboa, the Grand Lisboa, the hotel just to the left of the picture at the corner. It's a very grand hotel, isn't it? Nighttime, it just comes alive with every single colour that you can imagine, which is very much Macau.
All Antonio Fuoco is focused on, though, is black and white right now, and that's a checkered flag as a race winner, and he's building this gap 3 seconds clear in the Ferrari as Marciello goes through eternity. This is Eduardo Mortara, who is still trying to find a way past the McLaren of Benji Goethe, but he just can't find a way. And this is Mr. Macau, don't forget, because Mortara has had 10 race victories here, whether it's been in Formula 3, whether it's been in GT, whether it's been in main races or qualifying races. Some years he's won both in given categories, but he is absolutely stuck, and he has not had a win here since 2017, but tough weekend for him. He lost his best qualifying lap because the car was overpowering, and therefore that condemned him down the grid for yesterday's race.
Yep, it certainly hasn't been the year for Eduardo Mortara, has it? He's been competing in DTM, he's been competing in Formula E as well, but he is known as the master of Macau. 10 wins, that's not an easy feat in anyone's motor racing career, and to prove that, he also has a waxwork in the local Grand Prix museum, and it's a quite super likeness as well, the Madame Tussauds waxwork. Only a few drivers and riders get the chance to do that. Right, let's have a look at this Porsche once again on the tail of the BMW of Raffaele Marciello at the conclusion of what will be lap number 9. All 3 of them, in fact, second, third and fourth places, very close indeed, but once again we're into sector 1, and that favours the BMW.
Does indeed, as they go across the line then with half a second between them, and then a further 7/10 back is Joel Ericsson. Fuoco is still banging in absolute best sector times, as the advantage is now 3.1 seconds between the top 2, but Marciello still being hurried along by Heinrich. There is Laurin Heinrich, headlights ablaze. And in 4th place, Joel Ericsson falling back ever so slightly. Still 5th, Ye Yifei, who's not been able to convert that front row start into a result. And Sheldon van der Linde in 6th, helped, I know, by the dramas here on lap 1, but even so, that's not a bad outcome. What's interesting is the way that the gaps have opened up, and bear in mind, although we work now lap number 10 of the race, we have had a safety car to bunch them all up, but interesting how those gaps have opened up, and that perhaps illustrates just how challenging a circuit it is. You've got to totally commit to it, and that's what Antonio Fuoco has done. He leads then. Marciello is still 2nd, Heinrich is 3rd, and Ye Yifei has just done an absolute best 2nd sector as he tries to close on that leading quartet.
The Porsche, as we just went to the leader of the race with the pictures, was right on the tail of the BMW this time. And you know what, when you've got a car so close behind, you can't afford to put a single wheel wrong. The wall is one side, the barrier is the other. The change of direction, left to right to left to right, and then you go into Police and Moorish. It's all a bit vague as you go through the Solitude S's up towards Payol, the left-hander, and the faraway hill, up towards the right-hander, Police and Moorish, and then where we are now with the race leader in the Ferrari around Donna Maria, the left-hander, into this yellow flag zone at the Melco hairpin. The Ferrari turns through the corner, and then we've got this train of 3 cars, BMW, Porsche and Audi, all thread their way through the corner, come down towards the part of the circuit that opens up now. The speed opens up as the Ferrari is about to come up to complete 10 laps in this Macau GT race and the FIA GT World Cup.
And as the Ferrari comes towards us, Eduardo Mortara a lap ago made a move against Benji Goethe, who was turning in, and Edo said, no, I'm coming by, I've had enough of this. And through he has gone. He had committed, the McLaren did start to turn in. That might get looked at, but Mortara salvaging 1 place. Here he goes, look, there's a gap on the inside, he takes it, and yeah, Goethe does move across, and Mortara wasn't fully alongside, but he's ahead now. So up into 10th place goes Eduardo Mortara. Yeah,
Mortara needs to be going forward. He's up into 10th place now at the expense of Benjamin Goethe down there in 11th place. And what of the race leader? Well, he's through, and he's got an advantage of almost 4 seconds at the end of lap number 10. The BMW in 2nd place, Raffaele Marciello, Lauren Heinrich in the Porsche in 3rd place, Joel Eriksson in 4th place. And it's a big gap, you can see it to the eye. It's 4 seconds when they completed the 10th lap. But what's going to happen in this battle? Something has to give.
Does indeed, and Lauren Heinrich in 3rd spot, under attack again from Joel Eriksson. But the Ferrari just looking metronomic up front, isn't it? Antonio Fuoco then leads the way. He was a Le Mans winner last year. He led briefly this race last year. He's won championships in GT cars in Italy. He's won in single-seaters. He's won the Gulf 12 Hours. He has been a very successful driver in GT and sports prototype Ferraris in recent years, Antonio Fuoco. But he leads Raffaele Marciello, another driver that made that jump from single-seaters to GT racing. And Joel Eriksson, another one. They're in 4th place. Lauren Heinrich is rather more concentrated on Porsches.
I get the feeling with this 3-car battle, something is going to happen soon. They are getting ever closer on this tight, twisty section of the circuit into the Melco hairpin. The BMW, the Porsche and the Audi as well, having to brake there to avoid touching the back of the Porsche in front as they go through the Melco hairpin, and then unleash the power of a GT3 car down through the twists and turns. We're about to get 4 lanes of traffic at this part of the circuit, and there's the Ferrari. He's checked out almost.
We've got a yellow flag at turn 19, so from Donna Maria to the hairpin, it's Mortara who has gone off. He gives the thumbs up at the Melco hairpin to the marshal to say, I'm okay, but he's gone straight on, and Mr. Macau is up against the wall, and that is not something you anticipate to see. So I wonder whether that was a brake issue. You can see the witness marks on the ground where he's gone straight on. So here he comes through Donna Maria. There's nothing behind him. Just look above the windscreen. You'll see the rear camera. So he gets to the hairpin. Oh, and it shuts off. Look, the dash completely disappears. That was a failure. So the car had switched itself off, and therefore there was no braking capability, and on he goes.
Dear oh dear, confirmation on the screen that number 63 hit the barrier, and you're quite right. Yeah, nothing for the driver to see on the dashboard. Eduardo Mortara, you see how hot the work is inside the car as well. Goodness me, he's been pushing hard, hasn't he? He doesn't know what to do.
he's on the radio to the team saying, I was just driving along and then I braked and suddenly everything switched itself off, and so there was no ABS, there was nothing, and I couldn't do anything, and off I've gone. Many of the manufacturers send a works driver, and they send an entry for this event, and they get local teams to run the cars, and some from this region are more experienced than others. Some are still learning. It's great that the Asian teams get a chance to represent a manufacturer, but perhaps the Harmony Racing team just needing a little bit, not Harmony Racing, forgive me, the Absolute Racing team, Absolute Corsa, needing a little bit more mileage to get fully on top of that car and its nuances.
What's going to happen here? Are we going to get a safety car, do you think? Because that might be what Raffaele Marciello might need.
Yeah, I mean, we've had one and it didn't help him, oddly. I'm not sure, because in theory, that's such a slow corner. Nobody should be going that quickly to hit the Lamborghini. Let's just have a look and see where the car is parked. It is just up the road. Here's another look at it. So yeah, Mortara totally on his own. He gets to the corner, switches itself off, he stands on the brakes, but at that point he's going straight on. Look at the dash. And here is the Raffaele Marciello BMW coming down towards the right of Fisherman. So we are still under a waved yellow at the hairpin. You could argue that you could leave the car there because it's a permanent yellow flag zone anyway. It's more the speed that needs to be controlled.
It is, and we'll wait and find out what race control decide that needs to be done. Certainly the Ferrari knows what needs to be done. Complete another lap. The gap has come down just a little bit, only by a tenth of a second, 3.8 seconds. It is the gap between the race leader and second place. And with 12 laps completed now, at the moment the race continues.
That's the replay of Eduardo Mortara having that failure, the car going straight on. Right, again, look at the dash. Everything just goes, switches itself off, and there's not a lot he can do. He's just a passenger into the barrier and into the wreck itself. 4 laps remain and counting. There's a rather lonely Benji Goethe, equally lonely Antonio Fuoco at the other end of the pack now, because he leads by 3.8 seconds. And this rather elasticated situation between Marciello, Heinrich and Ericsson now sees the BMW get away slightly, and it's the Audi closer to the Porsche than Porsche close to BMW.
Yes, the elastic has never been so stretched during this race. It's pulled well away from the Porsche. I think Lauren Heinrich has got quite a lot of work to do to keep that Audi, which is looking pacey. We know we're ticking off the laps. 12 laps are complete, and if Joel Eriksson wants to be on the podium, he knows he's got to do something about this golden Porsche directly in front of him, and I think the time is going to be quite soon. Let's see what happens over the course of the next couple of laps, but the BMW had been able to pull away a little bit. It looks like the gap has come back down again as they come out of Moorish up towards Donna Maria, the left-hander, and onto the final sector of this lap around Macau on the gear circuit. 6-kilometre circuit gives us thrilling races for GT cars, for touring cars and for single-seaters as well. Don't change a thing. This circuit is just about perfect.
It is for Antonio Fuoco right now, isn't it? Because although we're not getting as many improved sectors as the tyres start to go over their peak, he is still well clear of Raffaele Marciello, who just has no answer, and that Ferrari is getting ever smaller ahead as it gets away. It's becoming ever more a distant dot in the distance. Lauren Heinrich ahead of Joel Eriksson, and Yeye Fei is also crawling back into the picture, isn't he? He's not close enough to think about attacking, but he is nearer than he was.
He's been putting in some overall best sectors as well, namely sectors 2 and 3, I think, for the 2025 Le Mans winner. As we look at the timing screen, 13 laps are completed now. That's the BMW in second place. That's the Porsche in third place. That's the Audi in fourth place. And in the same frame, you can say that is the Ferrari in fifth place as well. We've got clearance at turn 19, so a green flag now down at turn 19. That is good news. Maybe not such good news for Raffaele Marciello.
Raffaele Marciello 7/10 quicker than Antonio Fuoco in the first sector alone. Now, that might be because Antonio is very happy to drive well within himself, or it might be that the BMW is on one last push in the second sector of the lap. Antonio Fuoco is fractionally faster, so you win a bit, you lose a bit over the course of a long lap. 6.2 kilometres long, don't forget the gear circuit here. And the nature of the corners, obviously, is going to favour some cars at certain parts and others elsewhere. Joel Eriksson then running in 4th place in the Audi. So one better than he achieved in that qualifying race yesterday. Of course, we lost Alessio Piccirillo from 3rd and we lost Ian Trugugan from 6th on the grid on that first lap. As Marciello now realises that this is going to be another year where a Macau GT Cup win ain't going to go his way.
It's looking a little bit less likely with every lap that goes by, because they are competing for 2nd place on the podium, 3rd place on the podium. They've closed right up once again, haven't they? Around Donna Maria they go, the BMW, the Porsche, then a bit of a gap this time for the Audi.
That BMW all of a sudden looks a bit more nervous to me. It looks as though it was slightly twitchy coming out of Moorish and again off Donna Maria, and I just wonder now whether, as he's had to be defending, Raffaele Marciello's tyres are not quite as good as they were. Certainly for a couple of 3 corners it looks a little bit more edgy, that car, and you need to be totally confident in it to attack around here. So Marciello comes off Fisherman's. There is Fuoco in the distance, having again been able to build the gap. In fact, he may have lost out in that first sector, but the balance of the lap is commanded by him. He goes through now with 2 to go. There's Marciello ahead of Heinrich. And that last lap for Lello was a 2:17.4. Heinrich is quicker and Ericsson quicker than the pair.
Yeah, so the gap extends to almost 4.4 seconds. So a really good lap there by Antonio Fuoco over Raffaele Marciello in 2nd place. I think you're right. I don't think the BMW quite has the pace that once it had. The Ferrari has 2:16.581 that last lap for the Ferrari.
You know, that BMW that hasn't got the pace, it's just done the absolute best first sector. So I'll take it all back about the tyres. They're absolutely wonderful, these Pirelli things. They'll last until the very end. And out of nowhere, Marciello has managed to go 8/10 quicker, nearly 8/10 in a sector alone than Fuoco.
Yeah, the BMW and Raffaele Marciello go together hand in hand on Sector 1. Another overall best in the first sector for Raffaele Marciello. But in fairness, if you've got a car that favours one particular part of the circuit, you have to make the most of it, don't you?
Yeah, totally. Marciello then is hard at work, having moved 2 years ago from Mercedes AMG to BMW. And he's not going to claw back 4.3 seconds in 2 laps, even if it's a tremendous charge that he has. But he wants to hang on to that 2nd place, and so far so good. Laurin Heinrich will go to bed tonight with a red and white BMW boot lid engraved upon his eyelids, because that's what he has been staring at race long. This is Marciello's view up towards Moorish. Climb the hill, early lift, slow the car down, narrow exit to the corner. Heinrich Ericsson behind, and there's going to be 1 more lap to run at the end of this. But Antonio Fuoco is now pretty much assured of being the winner of the 2025 Macau GT Cup. The FIA GT World Cup will go to Ferrari, it seems, for the first time.
Heading down from the Melco hairpin as 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th all thread their way around the hairpin, and the Ferrari has been exceptional on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday and now on Sunday. What's the Porsche got planned for the final laps, as we have now 14 laps completed in this 16-lap race for the Macau GT Cup, the FIA GT World Cup. Still the same order, the BMW, nothing is given. The Porsche just behind, the Audi just behind as well. We are getting towards the very closing stages of this race. 4.5 seconds the advantage for Antonio Fuoco in the Ferrari at the front of the field.
So the leaders go through onto the last lap. There is Raffaele Marciello going through Mandarin, having one last push. He's not going to catch the leader, but he does want to shake off Heinrich. Down they come then towards the right-hander of Lisboa, and again Marciello does an absolute best in the first sector, and again Ericsson closes up onto the back of Heinrich. That could possibly change before the end, but Ericsson would have to be really brave at Fisherman's. But Antonio Fuoco has exorcised the demons from last year. He has righted the wrongs, if you like, after the contact between him and Raffaele Marciello that allowed Mauro Engel through to win. And this year, Antonio Fuoco, who has just become part of the Ferrari furniture, and like a USB, you plug him in and he delivers. Whether it's in a car in the WEC or a GT3 spec car, he is now one of the, if not the, Ferrari star driver. He makes his way downhill for the last time. Antonio Fuoco is beckoning now towards the checkered flag and a race win.
redemption here at Macau, and making up for 2024, the Ferrari and Antonio Fuoco. Super stuff. This has been an excellent, not just race, but an excellent 4 days for Antonio and also for Ferrari as well. Beautiful. The car looks so neatly planted around the streets of Macau. And around the left-hander, the long left-hander, Donna Maria, up towards the Melco hairpin for the final time. And he's been able to pick his lines, hasn't he? Yep. He got early on a gap after the safety car. He was very quickly able to get a lap. A gap over second place Raffaele Marciello, who's rather got his hands full of keeping the Porsche behind in second place, and that has been just perfect for the Italian. You can pick your lines, you can show off the car to its very best, and he has done exactly that. Super drive, super 4 days for Antonio Fuoco.
Fuoco's Ferrari wins a first FIA GT Cup victory for Ferrari as Antonio Fuoco dominates the Macau GT Cup from Raffaele Marciello, Larin Heinrich, Joel Eriksson and Ye Yifei in 5th place. And a dominant display as Sheldon van der Linde comes through to be 6th in the BMW. Christopher Haase will take 7th in his Audi. Andy Deng is going to be 8th. Lawrence Vantor 9th in his kind of 6 out of 10 Porsche after its accident on Thursday. Benji Goethe will round out the top 10, and the other finisher is Anderlecht Fong. But Antonio Fuoco came, saw, conquered, got the T-shirt, and is going to be a delighted man when he stands on that podium. The Italian driver so fast, and he has gelled completely. And having talked about teams running cars, don't forget that the Ferrari run by the AF Corsa stable. That is effectively a Ferrari factory team. So you can tell they came here to win, can't you? Ferrari with top driver, top team, no stone unturned. You can see that means a lot to him. But Antonio Fuoco has utterly annihilated the opposition here at Macau.
They came here to Macau and they meant business, that's for sure. And they did the business. They were super on Thursday, super on Friday, a win on Saturday, and now a win on Sunday. Not just that, historic win on Sunday. They take the crown of the FIA GT World Cup and the Macau GT Cup as well, adding their names to a very long list of super memories from the GT race here at Macau. Well done. Didn't put a wheel wrong, did he?
All weekend. I mean, I don't think we've seen a lock-up or a missed apex when we've been looking at Fuoco, but this is the mark of a manufacturer factory driver. Just awesome. And, you know, look who's been beaten by a big margin. Raffaele Marciello, who is one of the masters here. Yeah, totally. So, well done, Antonio Fuoco. And unlike Anshin Guven, for example, or Luca Engschler, he's another driver who does quite a bit of DTM, single driver sprint racing. The bulk of Fuoco's last 7-8 years has always been in multi-driver races, whether they've been 1 hours or 24 hours. So it's a rare opportunity for him these days to have the car to himself. He was 9th last year after the drama at Lisboa. He got the lead, just to refresh the story, and he and Raffaele Marciello went nose to tail down towards the braking zone for Lisboa. There was contact, and Antonio Fuoco said he didn't like losing and he bumped me off, and Marciello said he braked early and I had nowhere to go. And the net result was that Mauro Engel won it, didn't care. The Mercedes AMG driver victorious, and a very furious Fuoco. At least in fairness to him, brought the car home in 9th. Marciello parked his BMW, but Antonio Fuoco back this year, and as we say, he's exorcised those demons in style.
That Ferrari is showroom condition, isn't it? There isn't a scratch on it. Looks absolutely superb, which around these barriers and walls of Macau, well, that's quite surprising. It really is representation that this has been a dominant weekend for Ferrari and a dominant weekend for Antonio Fuoco as well. Everybody else, the world's greatest GT drivers, come here to Macau. They didn't have an answer for Antonio Fuoco, and by the time we got to the checkered flag, almost 4 seconds the advantage over the rest of the field.
And the fastest lap of the race to Antonio Fuoco. There's not much he's not achieved over the course of the weekend. Pole position for the main race, a race victory with ease, and there the perfect shot for Ferrari's media team. All three of the 296s getting themselves together. Andy Deng and Ye Yifei coming into shot behind Antonio Fuoco. So the other manufacturers will take note, and they will be back even stronger next year. Porsche comes here every year with oodles of talent, top teams, but just never seems to have a car suited for Macau. The Porsche, great round the mountain section, but little good does that do you if the cars ahead are wide and have got the grunt on the open section, the waterfront section here.
I love this battle that unfolds every year at Macau between the manufacturers, and it's never the same. The story is never the same. That's a Ferrari roof you're standing on. I'm sure it will pop out, but that's the iconic picture, and also the national flag as well, with the Ferrari, the prancing horse in the middle. Hold it up high and make the most of this moment. It's a glorious day for Ferrari at Macau, and a glorious day for Antonio Fuoco as well. The joy, the emotion, and the celebrations as well. There was one job, and they did it.
Yes, indeed so. Brilliant job done. And the AF Corsa team, as we've been saying, pretty much the Ferrari factory team, and an excellent job run by Amato Ferrari. He is the AF of AF Corsa. So Antonio Fuoco goes on the scales and takes his Italian tricolore flag to go and celebrate with the rest of the Ferrari squad. Brilliant job done. Not seen Amato Ferrari here this weekend, but a very good racer himself in his earlier days in Formula 3000, and then he had a very brief spell in the British Touring Car Championship. But Antonio Fuoco got as far as Formula 3, was a race winner in the European Championship. He, after that, moved on to race briefly in Formula 2. Didn't win races, got 3 victories in Formula 2, but this is a sports car and a GT racer has really found his niche. And they're still congratulating him in the white shirt, Benjamin Franasovici from SRO, and it's SRO that coordinates this grid. He's got his Ferrari hat, but he needs a Pirelli hat. Don't want that, he says. Well, I think you need it. So he's a bit busy at the moment sorting out the flag and the photographs. We'll let him have his Ferrari cap for photos. But for a race interview, we need the Pirelli cap. Alex Legui is down there for us, and you might have to prize him away from the team here, Alex, but good luck.
Ferrari just keep making history, and you've done it again. Antonio, what a drive.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last 2 weeks has been really unbelievable. I think it's like dreaming. I want to thank the guy because I think coming here after last year was tough, but at the end with the perfect weekend, I think we can never ask for something better than this. I'm just so happy for me, for the team, for everyone. I mean, we really deserve this.
Perfect from beginning to end, and what a way to finish your season personally as well, Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as I said, it's been really intensive season, but I think it's something that we will remember for many years.
Great job, and I know you've made Ferrari very proud.
Well done, Antonio Fuoco. And Antonio Fuoco then, more photographs required. And the flag has to be at the right place. Ferrari will take full marketing advantage of this, you can be sure. But as you say, showroom condition, not a mark on that 296.
And we get to hear one of the most jolly national anthems in a couple of minutes as well.
Very true. Right, now that he's been a factory Ferrari driver, he can be a Pirelli race winner. Change of caps. We all take our hats off to you, Antonio. That was quite a drive, a dominant display over the course of the weekend. And, he, along with Raffaele Marciello and Laurin Heinrich, will go to the podium. Everybody making sure that the right people head there. There will be a manufacturer's trophy as well, for which Antonello Coletta, the global head of endurance and Corsa Clienti, will be present. So you'll have drivers and manufacturers. Sands China will be represented on the podium to present the trophies for the race, and then Lutz Leif Linden, who is the FIA GT Commission President, will do the FIA trophy part of the ceremony. Right, in your own time, Antonio. probably nobody else you need to embrace. So crack on, podium beckons. Up you go. And the result thus, Antonio Fuoco ahead of Raffaele Marciello, Laurin Heinrich to round out the podium ahead of Joel Eriksson and then Ye Yifei. Sheldon van der Linde up to 6th from Christopher Haase and Andy Dang. Lawrence Van Thorn 9th, Benjamin Goethe 10th. And the Audi of Adley Fong brought Cinnamoroll home in 11th. We lost Eduardo Mortara. We lost Alessio Picariello on the first lap, as we lost Aaron Schenguven and Luca Engschler and Dorian Boccolacci. So some big names went out with those 2 incidents in the first 3 corners. Had they survived, might have been a very different type of race. But I think one thing was always pretty much guaranteed, and that was that Antonio Fuoco was going to take some stopping. Well, Antonio Fuoco celebrating a race win here at Macau. And the circuit now takes a big, deep breath for round about 2 hours before the Grand Prix itself. There is a special event, which is going to be a classic car and bike display. There's going to be the Lion Dance. The drivers for the Macau Grand Prix, the FR, Formula Regional World Cup, are all introduced to the chief executive of Macau SAR, the Special Administrative Region. And the build-up will then continue for the Grand Prix itself. 72nd running. We haven't missed one from 1954, even with everything that COVID threw at us. The organisers are a more local event, but they were able to keep the event going, and that's a great tribute to all involved. It's a hugely busy circuit in terms of people working on it, running cars at the event, officiating and spectating as well. And long may it continue. The podium will be next. The drivers are being rounded up. There is the podium with the backdrop, with the logos of the event, of Pirelli, of the FIA, of the AAMC, the Automotive Association of Macau. And very shortly, the doors will open. On one side, out will come the podium officials. On the other side, trophy queens will arrive. And then we'll have drivers, we'll have dignitaries, and then Chris Hartley, who is the English voice for the public address at Macau's Gear Circuit, will have a word with the drivers. And there'll be, if you like, two elements of the podium, one for the race and one for the FIA.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 72nd Macau Grand Prix Trophy presentation ceremony for the Macau GT Cup FIA GT World Cup. First of all, let's welcome the winning drivers to join us on the podium. On the second runner-up, it goes to number 22, Raukin Hadidich from Germany. On first runner-up, it goes to number 53, Raffaele Marciello from Switzerland. And the winner is number 50, Antonio Fuoco from Italy. Congratulations. And also, we would like to invite the winning manufacturer representative, Ferrari, Mr. Alizio Tonini, the Endurance Performance Specialist. Welcome, welcome all the drivers to join us on the podium. And now, It's time for the national anthem for the winner. Thank you. And now let's proceed to the trophy presentation. May we now invite our presenter to join us. Let's welcome Dr. Wilfred Wong, Executive Vice Chairman of Sense China Limited, to present the laurel and trophies to the top 3 winning drivers. First of all, to our second runner-up. Loud cheers, ladies and gentlemen, number 22, Dalkin Hardedich from Germany. Congratulations, and let's move on to our first runner-up driver, number 53, Raffaele Marchero. Congratulations, and of course, to the top of the podium, the winner is number 50, Antonio. Congratulations. And now I would like to invite Mr. Dave Sun, Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Sense China Limited, Managing Director of Venetian Macau Limited, to present the winning manufacturer laurel and trophy to the representative of Ferrari. Congratulations! Let's gather at the center. Let's take a photo together. All right. Please smile for the camera at the front. Cool. Please look at the front, at the media zones cameras as well. Let's capture this fantastic moment. Once again, congratulations. Drivers, please remain at the current position. Thank you, our guests. Thank you. Thank you. Driver, please remain at the current position. Please remain at the current position. Let's invite Mr. Lutz Leif Linden, FIA GT Commission President, to present the trophy to the winner. Once again, to Antonio Fuoco. Congratulations. And also, another trophy to the winning manufacturer. Mr. Alizio Tonini, please. Ferrari! Congratulations! Let's take a photo together. Thank you. Please look at the front once again. Let's hold our trophy. Take one more photo. We would definitely like to capture down your glory moment with your shyness smile. Congratulations once again. Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Lutz Leif Linden. Thank you very much. And to all the winners, it's your celebration time, the champagne time. All right. We are all ready to celebrate with our drivers on the podium. Once again, a loud cheers! Congratulations! Woo! Thank you very much. Congrats. It's definitely a moment to remember. Thank you very much. And to all the winning drivers, please again remain on the podium. Now I'll pass the time to Chris to have some interview with our winning drivers, please.
Thank you very much. It's always the poor old manufacturer representative that gets wettest on the podium. Lauren, many congratulations. A great effort. Second visit to Macau on the podium. I spoke to Jan on the grid. He said the hotter weather might suit the Porsches a little bit better. So it proved to be. He had a very good start.
Yeah, it was a very good start. I mean, at this point, I have to say, John and me worked really well together through turn 1 and turn 2. I think he was in a really great position, and we were just trying to follow each other. In the end, I have to say, I feel really sorry for him because he would have deserved it the same as me. We were braking behind each other, and I got tagged from behind, so I had nowhere to go. I was braking the brake pedal as hard as I could, but yeah, I'm really sorry for him. He would have really deserved it. But thanks for my team, CLRT and Porsche. I think we did a great turnaround of the weekend where we struggled a bit in the beginning. But we had a great car today. Unfortunately, I could not make the move. I think, as you said, had advantage in the early laps. But yeah, where I make the lap time versus the others, it was just a bit too difficult to go for a move. But in the end, I'm really happy at my second visit to come home with a trophy.
Yeah, in the middle of the lap, you were super quick down into the hairpin, but there's no way to overtake there. And then at the end of the lap, the start of the lap, the high-speed sections, the BMW just a little bit quicker than you.
Yeah, exactly. It got a bit frustrating. I mean, I tried everything I could in the end to exit the hairpin as close as I can, but you always have this catching effect, and it's hard to stay close at the exit. In the end, I ran out of tools in my toolbox, but still, it's great to race around this legendary place, and I'm hoping to come back soon.
Super job. Well done, Lauren. Great job by you. And Raffaele, congratulations, second place. It feels like, from an outsider's point of view, you got the most that you could possibly get from the BMW today. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, we are the only one with the front engine now, and we know that we need an advantage in Sector 1 to be quick. And yeah, I mean, I think the Ferrari overall was the fastest car. Antonio did an amazing job, so at 10th, I think, yeah, P2 was the maximum possible.
Still nice to get your first podium here as a BMW driver, and you had to, be aware of Lauren behind you and the Audi of Joel as well. So you still had to remain focused.
Yeah, I mean, even though the Porsche was unused and I was on new tire, I was still struggling a lot. But yeah, as I said, luckily I have a good Sector 1 and last sector, so I was always able to keep some safety, let's say. And we know in Macau it's very hard to overtake also, so at the end I just had to keep it clean, and then yeah.
And the start was mega. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think if I got, I don't know, he braked for Mandarin or he slowed down because he was very inside. So I saw the opportunity and I took it. I don't know with Alessio what happened, but I didn't have any contact with him. But yeah, I knew I had to do something at the start because it was my only chance. And yeah, unfortunately I came one position too short.
It worked to get the podium there. Well done. Great to see you again. Here he is, our winner. Wow. Is there anything better than hearing the Italian national anthem? First Italian to win the GT World Cup. Your first win, Ferrari's first win. The perfect day.
Yeah, I mean, I think throughout the weekend we did an amazing job, and I want to thank all the guys because really pushed since the beginning. Was a payoff from last year because I think we went really close, and this weekend we did everything perfect. So I just want to thank all of them. It's really special to be here today, and I think the last couple of weeks has been amazing. So it's really dream come true, and I'm so happy to be here today.
You built a nice big lead, then the safety car came out, which you probably didn't want to happen, but your restart was fantastic. You gave yourself a nice easy run on the restart to the first braking point.
Yeah, I mean, if I need to be honest, I was quite scared looking at the speed of the BMW on the straight, but I think I was able to manage a really good restart, and it worked quite well, and then I just tried to keep the margin and manage until the end.
And where does this victory rate in your career?
I mean, one of the top 3, I would say.
That's pretty good. Listen, you've been superb, a superstar all weekend. Many congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone.
Your race winner, GT Cup World Champion, Antonio Fuoco.
Congratulations once again to all the winning drivers. So ladies and gentlemen, there will be another anticipated race later in the afternoon. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Congratulations then to Lauren Heinrich for third place, Raffaele Marciello second, and Antonio Fuoco takes a first FIA GT World Cup win. The Macau GT Cup falls to Ferrari and Antonio Fuoco at the end of a dominant display here on the streets of Macau.
World Cup. We have our top three finishers here. Race winner Antonio Fuoco, second Raffaele Marciello, and third place Lauren Heinrich, and a representative from Ferrari, Ferdinando Canizzo, who's the head of endurance race cars. Congratulations to all of you.
歡迎大家嚟到第72屆澳門格林披治大賽車澳門 GT 級國際汽聯 GT 世界級正賽嘅賽後記者會。首先，我哋恭喜台上面嘅3位車手，佢哋分別係冠軍得主富奧、亞軍馬些路同埋海恩、季軍海恩利希。另外，冠軍廠隊法拉利代表都有在場。
Antonio, congratulations. A win at Macau is always special, but your first win, Ferrari's first win, and especially after what happened 12 months ago, how special does this feel?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really special to win Macau, and as you said, especially after last year. But I mean, it's racing, so we came back this year with one goal, and I think we did an amazing job through all the weekend, since the free practice, qualifying, hyperpole, and then the qualifying race yesterday, and also today. I think we managed everything really well. I would like to thank all the team because they pushed really hard for this race, for this weekend. So this victory is for all of them. I think we really deserve it after last year, as you said, and I'm really happy and proud to be here today.
富奧表示咧，其實佢喺舊年嘅時候未能獲得好好嘅成績啦，所以今年咧就捲土重來。咁佢喺成個比賽週末裏邊嘅步伐都非常之穩健啦，而佢咧亦都可以同車隊一齊咧去保持住呢個勢頭啦，咁直至到喺依家嘅正賽裏邊攞到冠軍嘅。咁佢好多謝車隊啦。
We know the pace of the car has been very strong all weekend, but obviously the difficult points were going to be both the start and the restart, especially with Raffaele's straight line speed behind you. How did you approach them, and how comfortable were you?
Yeah, I mean, I think yesterday I did a good start, so I tried to repeat what I did yesterday, and then the restart, to be honest, I was a bit scared looking at the start of Lello, so I tried to manage and push really hard on the last two corners. I was able to open a bit the gap, and I almost lost the car in Mandarin, but I think I was pushing really hard, and I mean, everything worked well. So again, I'm really happy of what we have done, and yeah, that's it.
而佢都補充到咧，其實喺賽事裏邊咧，佢都有多次險些失手嘅部分嘅，咁但係佢都可以將佢拉翻嚟啦，然之後好開心可以衝線嘅。
And it was a new format here this weekend with Super Pole. How did you think that worked?
Yeah, I think it was quite funny, the format that we had this weekend. The only thing, we went a bit late, quite dark, but I think was still able to see the track all around. But I think it's really nice format where you need to be on that point for one lap, which you need to put everything together. And already Macau is quite special, and I think this format of qualifying, it makes Macau even more special.
而佢亦都認為咧，今年新增嘅超級崗位賽咧，係為澳門嘅賽事咧更添色彩嘅。
Raffaele, congratulations on second place. A great start there and an exciting pass past Ye. Can you just run through that opening sequence, and did you realise that this was going to be the best opportunity to make positions?
Yeah, I mean, I had to do something at the start. It's a pity yesterday I was not able to overtake Alessio and Ife when I almost did it. And then, yeah, before, even if you had a bit of a power advantage, I mean, you know, you can play there and there a bit, and Ferrari had a good start. They were also quick at the straight at one point, so it was very difficult for me to do more. Then I had to think more to defend more than attacking. So at the end, P2 was the best possible position when Ferrari attended P1 from quali onward. So they did their job. So P2 was the maximum.
第二位馬西路咧就表示其實佢見到對手咧喺成個比賽週末裏邊咧個勢頭都非常之強勁啦，咁所以其實佢喺正賽裏邊咧都非常之難咧可以做到太多嘅攻擊嘅，咁所以喺參賽嘅策略上邊咧佢就選擇多係守住自己嘅位置。
Even though we know that BMW had a good straight line speed advantage, how much pressure was there in the race from behind, and how much were you having to make sure you had enough of a buffer coming out of Melco?
I think more to don't crash the car because it was very difficult to do good lap times and don't lose the car because I had a lot of understeer hairpins, then no traction, so I was struggling a lot. So I had to defend. I mean, in Macau, even if you are not very quick in the straight, you can still defend because it's very difficult to overtake. But the car was very tricky to drive, so yeah, at one point I said I cannot catch Antonio anymore, so I just drive safely to the end.
而佢都補充到咧，雖然寶馬其實喺直路上邊係比較有利啦，但係因為其實去到賽事嘅進行當中咧，佢個輪胎嘅走地力都開始失去啦，所以佢喺雖然好想繼續向前追啦，但係更加重要嘅咧就係守住第二嘅位置。
And what did you make of the Super Pole format this year? You've obviously been here before, but this was a new addition for 2025.
I think it's like funnier for sure, but I mean there is always pro and con because they did this because they were scared of red flag, but it can happen also in Super Pole if one of the first guy crashed, so he's crashing. So at the end it's nice because you have 2 laps, you're alone, but at the end it's not changing so much the result of qualifying, but for sure it's more fun. I would even do maybe only 1 car on track per time, so then for sure you are safe, you don't have red flag, traffic, whatever. But for sure it's always nice when you have a Super Pole format.
而佢亦都對超級桿位賽咧補充到，佢就覺得其實可以喺雖然個超級桿位賽嘅成績咧對個賽果嘅幫助可能未必好大啦，但係可以喺東望洋跑道上做到2個乾淨嘅圈速咧，都係非常之好嘅。
Lauren, congratulations on 3rd place. A very dramatic opening sequence to that race, that run from the start all the way down to Lisboa. Can you just run through how that panned out for you?
Yeah, I mean, I knew coming from P8 it would be difficult, and my best chance to make some spots up is at the start. So I was actually, I mean, happy is the wrong word, but I was quite okay with losing a position yesterday to start on the right side today because I think, yeah, especially through turn 1, that's a bit better, especially when you're in the middle of the field. So that worked pretty well. I got side by side with the Audi exit of turn 1. Actually, he squeezed me in the wall, so I touched the wall on the right and the Audi on the left. I was sandwiched, and I was not sure coming into Mandarin if the car is okay and the tires are okay, but in the end you have to go for it because there's also the whole field behind you, so you cannot slow down too much. I had a great Mandarin, a great run. I saw Ayanchan, my teammate, is on the very right. He's also making up spots. And I came with huge overspeed. Actually, I had to lift the throttle a bit to not bump draft him too hard. So I gave him a little bump draft so that put him ahead, his nose ahead of the others. Coming to the braking point, I think both of us made a clear plan before the race that we worked together there. And I mean, we were in the best position on the inside of turn 3. During the braking, I got unfortunately a hit from behind, and I locked the rear axle. I knew that now it's the time to push the brake pedal as hard as you can, and that's what I did. But unfortunately, yeah, I got pushed into my teammate, and he ended up in the wall. So that's very unfortunate. Obviously, I feel, despite finishing on the podium for the first time, I feel quite bad also for him because he would have deserved it as much as I do, and still. I hope he will get over it, and I'm sure someday he will come back here and also have great success.
第3位嘅何恩利希咧表示，其實佢喺第8位起步啦。咁對於佢嚟講咧，其實呢個起步位置咧，反而佢覺得係尤其是係喺進入第1彎嘅時候咧，係比較有利嘅。咁佢喺其實比賽過程當中，尤其是喺前邊咧，佢都遇到唔少嘅問題啦。譬如話佢俾對手逼到掂到圍欄啦，跟住俾2架車夾住啦，跟住但係因為喺比賽過程當中你又唔可以減慢速度啦，所以其實咧喺成個賽事過程當中咧，佢都有好多唔同嘅掙扎同埋問題要去面對啦。而佢咧喺剎車位咧，亦都因為唔小心咧就鎖死咗輪胎等等嘅一啲問題。咁所以咧，佢到最後咧可以攞到第3咧，佢都覺得好開心嘅。
And how did the battle with Raffaele then kind of play out for you? Because we know the straight line speed advantage he had. Did you feel there was any opportunity to get past, or was it always going to be a bit of an uphill battle?
Yeah, once we restarted after the safety car, I was quite happy to see that I can apply some pressure on Raffaele because in the end, we had a really difficult build-up to the weekend. We had issues on the car, also with reliability through FP1, FP2. It was uncertain if I could even start the quali race. But the team, Schumacher-Siller, did a good job not only to fix the car, but also to give me a quick car. But in the end, surely, I think I had a small pace advantage in the beginning of the race. But it was a bit difficult, despite the lap time advantage that I maybe had, to go for a move, because I think the BMW and the Porsche doesn't get any more different than that, how the cars produce the lap time on which parts of the track. So yeah, I ran a bit out of tools in my toolbox to try and make a move, and in the end I still tried to keep the pressure up, to not fall in the hands of the Audi behind me, but I knew it would be he would need to make a big mistake for me to profit from that.
而佢亦都補充到咧，其實喺賽事恢復嘅時候咧，佢亦都的確咧有向馬些路咧就嘗試施壓嘅，咁但係因為佢其實係自己喺自由練習1同埋2裏邊咧，其實都有遇到一啲問題啦。咁車隊幫佢整翻架車之後咧，咁佢都係偏向一個比較小心同埋嘅駕駛方法嘅。咁其實喺賽事嘅開頭咧，佢覺得自己咧嘅勝算係比較大嘅，所以佢都有嘗試去推進啦。咁但係因為去到後嚟，佢就發覺其實嗰個前面同埋後車嘅嗰個壓力咧都好大，所以佢就喺保持位置嘅時候抵擋後車嘅施壓啦，最後就攞到第3。
And Ferdinando, congratulations on a win for Ferrari. It's been a great season for Ferrari in endurance racing in WEC. What does this victory at Macau mean for Ferrari?
Yeah, definitely a very outstanding season for us. And this is a kind of, right closing of the season, because as Antonio said, we worked very hard. We knew that we had some difficulties to face, with our competitors, but in fact we worked very hard to strengthen our strong points and to be sure that the car over there was perfect. And on the other side, we spent many times with the drivers and with the team trying to understand how we can manage. And I have to say that the move that Antonio made at the restart of the safety car by launching the car while warming up the tires was great. So at the end, it's definitely a victory that rewards the team of their effort through the season, and I think motivated us to do always better for the future.
而今次嘅冠軍廠隊代表咧，亦都表示其實佢對自己對廠隊喺成個賽季嘅表現都比較滿意啦。咁其實賽季係非常之艱難嘅，尤其是係知道要同啲咁強嘅對手去比拼啦。所以除咗要保持賽車係達到極致嘅狀態之外咧，其實同車手啦同埋車隊去一齊管理佢哋嘅策略都非常之重要嘅。
Okay, any questions for our top 3? Nope, all good. Congratulations. If you can stay for a quick photograph, everybody together, it'd be fantastic. Thank you very much.